This week's episode of the Run, Eat, Drink podcast is brought to you by listeners like you. Head on over to patreon.com/Run, Eat, Drink podcast and subscribe today. Fans, founders, and insiders like you help us keep the Run, Eat, Drink podcast going. And we thank you for your support.
Hi, I'm Jeff Galloway, and you are listening to the Run, Eat, Drink podcast.
Welcome to the Run, Eat, Drink podcast. We feature destination races from across the country. And after the race, we take you on a tour of the best local food and beverage to celebrate. So whether you are an elite runner or a back of the packer like us, you'll know the best places to accomplish, explore, and indulge on your next runcation. Hey, welcome to episode 203 of the Run, Eat, Drink podcast. I'm your host, Amy.
And I'm your co-host, Dana.
I am so looking forward to this week's episode.
I look forward to every week's episode, but this one in particular.
Yes.
I think that we have excitement and we have a little bit of FOMO.
Well, I have a lot of FOMO.
And we're going...
Speak for yourself.
And we're going to channel that into something that we hope is going to really build everybody else's excitement up ahead of
the springtime surprise.
Surprise! It's springtime. No, wait, that's not what that means.
No.
That is not what that means.
I don't understand.
This week is all about, if you are listening to our episode, if you're looking in our social media feed, it is going to be all about Disney this week because Disney has unveiled the Springtime Surprise, a new race series.
It's a new race weekend, people.
And I'm hopeful that by us ginning up some support and interest in this, that they may get some people to actually show up to this. I mean, it's new, it's unknown. People might be a little uncertain about it.
Dana, it's sold out.
Oh.
I just looked today because there were still some lingering spots. You know, I know your heart was in the right place. I looked today because the Tower of Terror 10-miler was still available a couple of weeks ago. And everything is sold out. So you don't have to worry about me springing a springtime surprise on you.
Oh, so no unexpected race events that I may not know about nor have trained for.
Right.
Well, that's good.
There you go.
And I'm glad to hear.
You're welcome.
I'm also, thank you. I'm also glad to hear that we don't have to worry about Disney going under as a result of nobody showing up to this race event.
I know that it impacted your stress level.
It really was something I was
really
concerned
high.
about. Well, given that they own most of my childhood, I really don't want them going anywhere.
Right.
So
I know.
Okay, so Disney is safe. We don't have to worry about them going away. The Springtime Surprise, you mentioned part of it. Amy, tell people what the Springtime Surprise is.
The Springtime Surprise new Run Disney event, new Run Disney weekend, has 3 events. Count them. 1, 2, 3. We do not get to participate in any one of them. And I think that you are most upset about the first one that I'm going to talk about, which is the Expedition Everest 5K.
Yes.
Oh, maybe not. There's something brand new to the weekend called Springtime Surprise Sunrise Yoga.
Well, you've recently gotten me into yoga, and I will admit that I'm enjoying those workouts and hating those workouts a lot more than I thought I would all at the same time.
Wow.
But when I think of Run Disney events, I'm typically not thinking of the yoga. I'm thinking of the races. So you mentioned Expedition Everest 5K.
I did.
Yes, that is the one. When we were talking about signing up for this race weekend, this is the one that I wanted to do.
I know.
Above all others. And it's the one that sold out, I think, immediately.
Yes, it did. I set no alarms, set no calendar reminders. It's my own fault.
Rank amateur.
I know this will be reflected in my
This will
annual
be
review.
Yes, this will be in your evaluation.
Sir. But because of this race in particular. But also, you're having FOMO for your favorite race distance, which is the Race for the Taste 10K.
The Race for the Taste 10K. Now, that's not one that I'm familiar with.
We never did it.
But this one used to be a Disney event also that went away, correct?
I believe so.
Because,
if not, email us at info@runeatdrink.net.
Yeah, that distance is my favorite.
Yes.
I am still stuck on the Expedition Everest 5K, though, because they brought it back, and they brought it back as a nighttime race, which I miss greatly.
I know.
And wanted to do that one.
Yeah.
So we got this Race for the Taste 10K
at your favorite race distance. So yes, your favorite race in the whole Run Disney collection in the springtime surprise.
Mm-hmm.
You're out. Favorite race distance. You're out.
Sold out.
Sold out. Also sold out is the Tower of Terror 10 miler. Say that 5 times fast.
Yeah, the Tower of Terror 10 miler. We've done it multiple times when it was originally run as a nighttime race.
Yes.
And they have brought it back this year. However, they brought it back as a daytime race. So I'll be curious to hear reports from those that run it about what they thought, especially from those members of the Runcation Nation who maybe ran it as a nighttime race and now are going to do it as a daytime race. And I would like to hear their thoughts on how it is different and what they think. Info at runeatdrink.net.
And there's also a virtual version of all of these, but they're sold out.
The virtual is sold out as well.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And when is this race weekend happening? What's the actual official date?
Well, March 31st is when the Expedition Everest 5K is going to happen. Then, because that's a nighttime race, we're rolling into not April Fool's Day.
Right.
But
they give you a day off.
April 2nd.
Yes.
For the for the Race for the Days 10K. And then for the Tower of Terror 10 miler that should be at night, it is April 3rd.
So March 31st through April 3rd,
Yep.
This event is going to be going on. We wanted to get everybody who signed up, and apparently one or two of you decided to. We wanted to get everybody as excited as possible for this weekend. And in doing so, we wanted to talk a little bit about Run Disney this week.
We did want to talk about it, so we made it happen.
We did. And when you're wanting to talk about something at length, who better to talk with than a fellow podcaster?
Naturally.
Because there's one thing, if there's one thing that we podcasters know how to do,
right?
It's talk.
It's talk. I mean, congratulations to all the princess runners who completed the Princess Half Marathon Weekend events.
Uh-huh.
One of whom is a friend of the show and a fellow podcaster.
And we're, of course, talking about our friend from the This Diz Life podcast, Mark Valentine.
Mark Valentine, who actually is just so kind to us and says that we inspired him to do this thing.
I don't see how, but I'm so humbled that he would say that. And he was very, very kind in what he said to us in person, as well as what he said about us on his show.
Yes.
And we really appreciate that. And we also appreciate the fact that he was willing to give us some of his time to talk about his very first Run Disney experience, which was the Princess Marathon Weekend. He chose to do the 5K.
Yeah.
And talk about his experience as a first-time participant in a Run Disney event.
Yes.
But that's not all. When you're talking about a Run Disney event, we always bring the exploration and indulgence to the accomplishment.
the food and beverage portions of our show, yes, they are happening this week as well. We get a first-time experience of our own. It's Mark's first 5K, and it's our first time at Festival of the Arts.
Yes, we've been talking about it. We finally got to go to it, and we've been saving this for you guys. We wanted to give you our impressions of some amazing food and beverage from around the World Showcase. Now, of course, as we are recording this, the Festival of the Arts has shuttered for the year.
And what's on deck?
My favorite.
Your favorite.
I think the superior festival to all festivals, the Flower and Garden Festival, because it's just so beautiful.
It's beautiful. And then there are fantastic food and beverage options.
But you hearing about some of these offerings at the Festival of the Arts ought to whet your appetite and prime your pump for those delicious beverages at any of the festivals. But to know that if you're going for the springtime surprise, you're going to get Flower and Garden if you head over to Epcot.
The food and the beverage there, pretty legit.
Absolutely. So we're super excited to bring you all of this content this week. I think you're going to get as excited as we are for this upcoming Run Disney weekend. We hope that if you are going to run it, that you're thrilled, and we want to hear from you about how we were able to get you charged up and ready to run.
Or maybe you're going to cheer somebody on, or you're going to take in, it's spring break time for a lot of people. Maybe you're going to enjoy the food and beverage at Flower and Garden,
which would be a great way to spend a non-beach spring break.
Let us know if we wet your whistle.
info@runeatdrink.net. Shoot us a message or leave us a voicemail at 941-677-2733.
That's 941-677-2733.
So without further ado, here is our interview with Mark Valentine, host of the This Diz Life podcast.
I am so excited to celebrate tonight one of our own and fellow podcast host,
creator, man about town.
Yes. Mark Valentine, host of This Diz Life podcast, along with Dwayne Willie. He is a wonderful podcaster and also an accomplished runner.
Yes, he has now achieved his 5K goal. He is host of This Diz Life, and they have a collection in that family, their network of a variety of live streams, podcasts, YouTube channels. They're doing everything.
Yeah. Live chats, podcasts, discussions.
Yes.
We are so happy to welcome fellow podcast host, Mark Valentine. Welcome.
A round of applause.
We are so happy to have you.
Amy and Dana, thank you for having me. It is a pleasure to be here. Never in a million years did I think that I would be here talking this. I thought I would be here for the eating and the drinking, but lo and behold, I'm here to talk running.
That's how we get people.
That's how we get you.
People, Mark. We get people with the food and the beverage, and then they gradually think, "Whoa, running, it may not be that bad. You can earn that meal, that snack, that post-race beverage, if you will." So before we get into the running, tell the Runcation Nation about your show. If they are new to it, haven't heard it yet.
So we are a Disney Parks podcast. Very interesting. Interestingly enough, like Dana said, we have a plethora of different options for you that we talk Disney parks. We have a crew that talks Marvel. We have a crew that talks Star Wars, but we are decidedly all things Disney. Dwayne and I talk parks podcast every single Wednesday. And then we do a live stream, which is a news show we wanted to differentiate our audio only podcast from a lot of the other audio podcasts that are out there that are broadcasting on a weekly basis where they're doing news. So we didn't want to have our podcast be strictly about the news. Wednesdays are about tips and tricks and dining, resorts, park hacks, fun topics, polls, and we geek out on all things Disney. And then every Monday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time over on YouTube, we have a show called Diz Live, and we talk about everything that's been going on in Disney. So lots of fun. Like so many others, it was born from the quarantine and stuck in the basement, removed from the Disney bubble. I just needed a little dose of magic in my life. And so I put on a Logitech headset, recorded the pilot of our Disney Life podcast. And then here we are a year and a half later, living our best Disney lives. And Dwayne Willie is my co-host. We sit together every single week. And it's just two dudes doing Disney every single week. And we're having a great time. We love our life right now.
We absolutely love your stuff. You guys have been kind enough to let me come and play through calling in and just getting to hang out before. So I really appreciate that. It's an absolute blast to be able to have these highly intellectual conversations about things that are just totally not.
They're highly intellectual.
Sometimes they can be emotional. When you start getting it, they're very hot button geek topics.
I love Black Widow.
Oh, yeah.
In the Marvel universe. I'm very sad that race no longer exists in California because I would really like for Mark to experience that.
Now that we're talking about running, talk to us a little bit about what inspired you to do a Run Disney event and specifically the 5K.
Okay. I said this on my podcast this week. It was the two of you. Truly, the two of you inspired me to get off of my you-know-what and to just start to run. We're coming up on the Run, Eat, Drink season.
We are.
It's awards season.
Awards time.
It is.
And the Run, Eat, Drink Awards will be returning very soon for the second year. So you guys joined us over at this Diz Life podcast. It was actually our first Diz Life live stream. We had never done one. You guys were our first Diz Life live stream. Everything else had always been pre-recorded and released. So we had such a great time doing that. And Dana challenged me. He said, hey, I'm going to be doing a Couch to 5K. Download Jeff Galloway's app and join me. And so never before in my entire life I ever been inspired to want to run. My rule was from a bear and to a buffet. That was
That's a good rule.
That was it, at which I shared with Greg from the Disney Fanatics. And I was like, dude, that's so funny. That was my rule too. But there was something about, we had such a good time. The thing I love about this show is you guys are so inspiring that you lure us in with the eating and the drinking. And the thing I love, the positivity, whether it's the coffee chats, whether it's the beer chats that you guys do, you are so supportive. You're inspirational. Seeing Amy rehab and get out on the courses, and despite having the physical injuries continuing to, it inspires those of us that are not runners to say, like, maybe I can do this. Like I see these guys and they're so passionate about it, and maybe I can do this. And on that show, I said, and I believed, you guys always said, we're back of the Packers. And the thing that I felt like always with you guys was, even as a back of the Packer, you make everyone in your listenership feel like they're setting the pace. And so you guys inspired me to get off of my butt, to get off of my couch, and to start training in some form or fashion. Dana, I'm going to let you know this too. So when you started your Couch to 5K, we had some weather events, so I couldn't do it in real time with you. And then I got really nervous that I was going to lapse on my promise that I made to myself to do this. And what's the best way to ensure that you're going to get something done? You ante up. And so the ante for me was to register for the 5K. So come heck or high water, it was in the calendar. It was on the books. There was no backing down from it. And because of that commitment that I made, I knew at some point I was going to do it, and I had to train.
There is something to be said for that.
I mean, you spend the money.
You spent the money. There's a commitment. You've put some skin in the game, so to speak.
Yeah.
And the 5K, the Couch to 5K you're talking about is the live stream event that I did when I did the Jeff Galloway program last summer. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking about bringing that back again for people to, who've never done one, who might want to try out Run, Walk, Run. That seemed to be pretty popular. And I think that might be something we bring back this year.
Yeah.
For a guy like me who had never run, it was really great. The hardest part of any journey is always the first few steps. So it was great to have you guys in those first few steps to really be with everyone on that. And although I wasn't running, I was watching you guys start it, and it was getting me fired up and it was getting me really inspired. But I didn't really commit to it until I put that money out. Putting that money out, paying in excess of $100 to actually do it was okay. Mark, time to put your body on the line for this thing, because you paid for it.
Yeah,
pedal to the metal.
Yeah, and then I set goals too.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to talk about that.
Yeah,
I had goals for myself. It wasn't just walk it. I had set some pretty high bars for myself.
We're back of the pack, and we don't worry about speed. But when you entered into it, you had to be careful, and you had to tailor your training to your health needs. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's something that I wear as a badge of honor. I don't talk about it all that much because no one ever wants to be branded as like the sickly guy, or I never used it as a crutch for the entirety of my life. People would not know it unless I shared it. The more I broadcast and the deeper I get into being a podcaster, the more I talk about it with more frequency. But at the age of 2, I was diagnosed with cystic fibrosis. And that's a big part of the whole Disney life thing. The only time that I ever felt like a healthy person was when I was at Disney. It was the only time in my entire lifetime that I ever recalled feeling magical or non-cystic. So people ask when Disney, or like my why Disney.
Yeah.
Growing up as a kid, Disney was the only time I felt healthy. And I don't know what it was. If it was because we were at Disney, you just didn't think about being sick or sickly as a kid. So growing up with that diagnosis has always hung over my head and lingered. And it's why it was so emotional to do this 5K at 43 with the diagnosis of cystic fibrosis. Like, people told my mom, this is like 1981, your kid's never going to see his 15-year, like he's never going to be 15. The diagnosis for a cystic fibrosis patient in the 80s was really bad. Right. Life expectancy was very low. And there's still a lot of people that are diagnosed with cystic fibrosis and certain mutations of it that don't live very full or healthy lives. Mm-hmm. So to think that I was going to run a 5K at the age of 43 and not walk it, but run a 5K that's like a Mount Everest for a cystic patient. And I just came back from the doctor today, and like he full on like gave me a hug and was almost teary and was like, I'm so proud of you. So proud of you that you did this. This was like Herculean. And the other 2 attendings that were there were wide-eyed, and he's like, this guy just ran a 5K. It was like, great. So excited. But I did have to be really careful with training. You have pulmonary function issues that you always have to be conscientious of no matter what you do.
Sure.
So I think that throughout the training, I consulted with you guys a few times about, hey, that run ratio, playing with it. I think I reached out to Dana almost immediately, and I was like, hey, I really have to adjust this because I'm feeling it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't think I had a very big ratio to start. I think it was only like 40-20. And I was like, man, I'm sucking wind right now. I can't do this. So
yeah, that's the beauty of those ratios, is you can adapt them to whatever your circumstance in terms of your training, your physical ability, any ailments that you might have, whatever the case may be. And you were able to do that.
Yeah. And that
even
was
in a training run or on race day, even.
Yep. And that was something that inside of the app, you could do right inside of the app and adjust the ratio so that Jeff would tailor that workout based upon what you had selected for that ratio. And I just started with whatever the default was. And oh boy, I was not a default.
I wasn't either. I can tell you the moment that we downloaded that app and the first time that we had it, I said, I don't think I can do it. I have to, let's turn it down.
Gotta take it down a notch.
Okay.
Pump the
Because
brake.
I was not a runner and athletics. Like we had to do a mile in PE when I was a freshman.
Oh, that was the worst.
That was, and if you didn't finish in, I think 10 minutes or whatever, then you flunked the course. And I was like, oh man. And I just got it in under the wire.
Do you
I'm
guys
telling
remember we're all of the same age. Do you remember the presidential physical fitness?
Oh,
Yes.
absolutely.
Oh,
Absolutely.
That was the most anxiety producing experience for me as a kid growing up, because you saw all these other kids that were able to do it. And again, I was so sick as a kid. It's still emotional damage from that I never, and this is the thing, I never equated running with an enjoyable experience in my life.
Yeah.
And it was such a paradigm shift over the course of the last 2 months to not only realize that I'm a runner, but I really love running. And I cannot believe I cannot believe that I say that. And I'm so proud to say that now.
we got
That's
him.
awesome. Now we got to hook up with you at the holidays, and that was our first time connecting in real life, IRL, as the kids say. And
Oh, is that
from that time to when we saw you for race weekend, you dropped a ton of weight.
I did.
It was
Yeah.
visibly noticeable. And talk a little bit about, what did you do? Of course, you modified your training as needed, but what did you do? Were you solely running? Was it solely run, walk, run? Was it treadmill? What was your training regimen? What were you doing? How many days a week? That type of thing.
Yeah.
It's so funny that you mentioned that trip, because that was the light bulb moment that I had to start
Oh.
training. After we hung out for the holidays, I just didn't feel well. I really didn't feel well. And I knew that it was fast approaching in about 3 months. And I knew that was the last hurrah of sorts. To start with, I knew that there had to be a lot more than just getting on the treadmill. The first part, to be completely honest, was buying the treadmill, was making that investment in my health. And I went to Dick's Sporting Goods. I picked up a NordiTrack. It was something that this is putting your money where your mouth is and investing in your health. And that's what I looked at it as. I know it's an expense, but I'm investing in my health. I'm 43, but I'm healthy at 43, comparatively speaking to other cystics. And it's never, I have a new saying now: cystic fibrosis is never going to get me. But if I don't start living my life in a little healthier of a fashion, it'll be the thing that I don't expect that'll wind up get me. And I got a daughter to dance with at a wedding. I got a lot of race left to run in life.
Yeah.
So this wasn't a vanity thing or even a Run Disney thing. It became a health and wellness mission. I got really fat. One of the great things about the medicine they put me on was, for the first time in my life, I could put on weight, but I'm small. You guys met me. I'm 5'4". I'm tiny, and I carry every pound in my gut.
Wow.
And like for 5'4", I was 165, which some people are like, that's not horrible. But my entire life, I was 130. So over the course of 2
You
years,
feel it.
over the course of 2 years, I put almost 25 pounds on. And let's face it, that's a lot of weight. So I knew there had to be a lot more than just the running. My first investment was buying the NordiTrack and making sure that I was going to be using it on a daily basis. But then I purchased, no one's getting paid by them. It's non-promotional, but I purchased Noom. Some people that I knew had a lot of success with the app. I knew my personality. I'm, for better or worse, I'm tethered to my phone, that it's an appendage.
I don't know what that's like.
Oh, we have no idea.
So having the device holler at me in the form of notifications of, hey, log your lunch, log your breakfast, drink water. This is how many steps. It was like a one-stop shop, as data takes it.
Guess what? Sip,
That's
exactly.
for me to manage my health. The thing that I really liked about Noom was, much like Weight Watchers works, it allowed me to see my caloric intake and frame it out via categories. They have like green, yellow, and red. I was Mr. Red in life prior to training.
So red is like really
pizza-
rich and
Yeah, pizza for lunch, lo mein for dinner, eggs and bacon for breakfast. I lived in like high caloric density land prior to training. And just seeing just that simple philosophical tool of seeing your meal kind of laid out in front of you and the amount of calories was just a real eye opener for me. So physical fitness, being physically active, hydrating, and just being conscious about what you're eating was the key for me. It wasn't a diet of sorts because I tell people I never felt hungry. Noom you can eat. It's just eating the right things. And if you're ravenous, and we've all been there, instead of choosing the potato chips or the Doritos, I go and grab carrot sticks and celery with hummus, or you find ways that the app will give you substitutions to say, Mark, don't give in to your inner elephant. Eat this, not that. And just those little things, cutting out soda, even diet soda, switching over to seltzer with lime and lemon. Things that I said, you're 43, not 14 anymore. You have to start living your life as a man of a certain age. And it's not a sacrifice. You've lived a really great party lifestyle with your diet for a long time. It's just time to be a little bit smarter with some of your choices. So I set a goal weight of 140. I was 165. And when we went to have Mexican, I was down to 151.
Very nice.
Nice.
It was noticeable. We both commented, we're like, wow,
Yeah.
he's really shredding for the race.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
And I was going to say, the biggest thing, it's not for vanity. After we got home from that Thanksgiving trip, walking up a flight of steps, I felt it. I felt every bit of walking up the steps. And I was like, this is not the level of health I want.
Yeah.
For me, it's about feeling great. And at 43, I feel better than I did at 22, being like, being 22 years old and fighting cystic fibrosis. I feel the healthiest I've ever felt my whole life, which is absolutely insane. So this,
How you carry yourself too. It's
yeah,
like you when daily you can feel when you're on a healthy path, that confidence, and also just your overall mood.
I would say it affects everything. It affects mood. It affects the way you perceive the world.
Yeah.
it's been such a paradigm shift for me in the way that I approach almost everything in my life. And it's just, this has opened so many doors to me that I never thought was possible because of a fun. And we did a radio show about food that inspired me to change my relationship with food, but I think to change my relationship with wellness. And like the 5K, and I'm going to get ahead. I told you guys I might cry at the end of the 5K because what it signified to me. And Dwayne, my podcast partner, says to me, "Did you cry?" And I said, "I can't believe I didn't." And he's like, "Why? You're such an emotional dude." I said, "Because that's not the end of my race, man. I don't know how else to put it. That's not the finish line. That was just a line. When I finally cross whatever, I don't know what it is yet. I don't know." And I told my doctor, I said, "Hey, I think I'm going to do a 2-course meal in the fall. And I think I'm going to do a 5 and a 10. And I was like, and I might do a half." And he was like, "What?" And I'm like, "That's not the end of my race. I haven't reached the finish line. That's not my goal yet."
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, this was just a start.
Speaking of the start now, you're feeling great. You're ready to go. We saw you. You looked fabulous. How did you like the expo experience at your first race weekend?
Yeah, let's talk about the weekend.
Yeah.
And for us, expo is always the kickoff.
Let me just say, I had no idea that it was going to be that massive.
Oh, yeah.
Just unbelievable. I'm thinking it's just going to be Disney selling merch. And that's the extent of it. Is you walk in, they've got shirts, they've got mugs, they got whatever, and then you go and pick up your bib, not realizing that this is a full-on celebration. Like before you even hit the course, it is a full-on celebration of you and the runners and the community. And man, was the expo fun. I need to save more time during my next Run Disney event to just do the expo, because I went to Parks because Linda was waiting for me and I felt bad.
Oh.
I'm like, I don't want to leave. She's like, what do you mean? We're waiting for you. I'm like, it's so good. Come here. Like, come here and hang out. She's like, the kids don't want to do that. And I'm like, I know, I'm coming.
So you picked up your bib, you picked up your shirt. You didn't really linger in the expo.
I did a quick, that's what I shortchanged. And I was so sad that I did. I picked up a non-alcoholic beer, which was complimentary from an amazing brewery that was
Athletic Brewing.
Yeah.
I got Linda a running visor that was polka dotted, a Minnie Mouse visor.
I've seen those.
Cute.
Picked up my bib, picked up my t-shirt that they took the ticket off of the bib. And then I lingered around the Brooks running shoes for probably that was the longest amount of time that I spent. I'm like a diehard Brooks fan. I went and took some of the photographs, just had some really nice camaraderie with some of the other runners that you would take their picture and they would take yours. When you tell them it's your first run Disney event or you're just your first run event, period, it's just so amazing the positivity and the encouragement that complete and total strangers give you.
So true.
And you're getting congratulations before you've even put foot on the course. And people ask me, like, what was it like to run?
Tell us about your experience and what you thought of that pre-race and then we'll get into the course itself. You said you were amped up. The thing I've always loved about Disney races is the fact that you're getting a whole experience.
Yeah, even the expo right away, I could see that the event was really setting itself apart. I've never, even when it's stuff that we do at Disney, I've never felt like I didn't get value for whatever you pay for. Disney is always more expensive than the competitors, but Disney always will go that extra mile and give you stuff that you know that Disney's going to make it magic. So I took your advice. I'm going to be completely honest. The two of you said, hey, it's your first time. And we had this amazing, I have to say this too, it meant the world to me. I teared up. Dwayne had to rein it in. We had to edit some of it out because I was blubbering a little bit. The two of you visited right before the race week. And we had lunch over at Universal City Walk. And I left and I was a little emotional. Linda's what? I was like, they came to see me. I was like, and it meant so much to have you guys there and supporting me before the race. Like just that alone meant so much to me. So thank you again for
thank you.
Sharing that lunch together, for breaking bread. But you guys told me, I know it's an early wake up. Trust me, get on the bus by 3.
Yeah.
Get to the pre-race event. It's your first time. You're going to want to take it all in. And it was such a great strategy. I have to be completely honest, because lingering in the pre-race environment, the DJ, the dance party, the pictures, the energy and the buildup, it was palpable. The energy in that pre-race event you could feel it. It was electric. So the other piece of advice you gave me was don't overhydrate, don't eat too much, and don't drink too much because
in the morning.
Yes, because you may or may not regret that decision in the middle of the course while you're running. I had a bottle of water when I woke up. I used one of the 900,000 porta potties about like 35 minutes prior to getting into the paddock. And I took it all in. I watched the stage show. I got really hyped up. I got some pictures that I posted on social media in front of the decorative walls. But it was just the atmosphere, and there was a lot more at my disposal than I took full advantage of, because I was a man on a mission that day. I knew what I wanted from the race, and I understand everybody told me, look, here's the other thing. Everyone that's there has their own race to run. Some people are there to get their pictures with Moana and Pocahontas. Some people are there to just finish. And they're there to just make a commitment to themselves and just walk it. And you have people that are rehabbing injuries, and people are like, hey, time doesn't matter. Just enjoy. And I'm like, yes. And I agree with you for you. But I'm out here to prove to myself I'm a runner. I came here to be a runner today. And damn it, I'm going to run. And I was like, to me, the only way that I would have ever have felt like a failure is if I had physically overexerted myself in the days prior to by going too much to the park to where I had physical exhaustion and I couldn't run. And then I would have self-sabotaged my goal, which was to be a runner. Mm-hmm. So the 16-minute mile was very important to me, but I had to run it. And I said, I'm going to see these characters some other time. We'll go to a Christmas party. I know I'll see them.
Sure.
I have a finish line to get to as quickly as my body will carry me to it. And that was my mission.
So that was your strategy on the course. How are you feeling running the race?
I didn't feel the first mile.
Like you said. Yeah.
I truly, so it was like I got shot out a cannon. I felt I had the best pace that I actually had was the first mile.
Oh.
I had a really great pace. I was under 12 minutes. I was closer to 10 minutes in that first mile that I shot out a cannon. I tried to observe as much what I perceived to be like good race etiquette as possible. I stayed to the left. Faster runners that I could feel drafting off of me, I moved over to the right. Our group didn't launch until about 5:15, give or take a minute or two. So at about a quarter after was when we launched. The hardest part was watching the fireworks go off and just wanting it to be me. And I'm like, and I had so much nervous energy. And when it finally happened, I'm like, it's us. I gave everything that I had in the first few steps, and it was like you were just supercharged right out that gate. And I looked up and I'm like, there's mile marker 1. Holy cow. And I looked at the Apple Watch and I had a little bit over a 10-minute mile. And then I did go into, okay, now you're in the park, enjoy a little bit. And so then I did start to take it slower, and I stopped and took images of Moana, the princesses. I snapped photos, but it was a drive-by. I did the drive-by pictures. So I felt really strong after the first mile. It went way easier than I thought. And then the second mile, the whole race was in Epcot. It was almost 100% inside of the park, save for the first mile. You come in where Donald does his meet and greet right after the Mexican pavilion. Yeah. So that's where we then entered the park. From behind Test Track, you make a left. And the tacos, whatever you call them, the space gate, the Stargate, and the water.
I call them the light tacos.
Water tacos.
Yes.
Were illuminated with 5K on it. Disney really did it up. And again, I had Dana in my brain the whole time. Spaceship Earth was lit. Water tacos were lit. I kept thinking of you guys. Dana would be so happy. Spaceship Earth is lit. Water tacos are fully decked out. In 5.
Doing it right.
Awesome.
Doing it right.
So Disney did it right. And then I really enjoyed myself. I stopped. I snapped a picture with Elsa. I snapped a picture because I ran as Snow White. I snapped a picture of my patron saint of running, Snow White. And then I would pause for like maybe 5 and 10 seconds at each character. And I did slow my pace slightly because, again, I was just trying to pace myself, making sure I had enough in the tank to finish and to run. But my run walk interval was probably at that point 4 minutes of running to 10 to 15 seconds of a walk.
Oh,
nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, it'd be
awesome.
Really good. That's
Awesome.
exactly what you're looking for.
Yeah.
And I felt really strong with it. And there were people that were on the course that physically, just seeing them, you could tell people who knew what they were doing. And so I would look at them. I'm like, that's a runner. And I would try to hang with them as much as I could. And there was one group of women that were really like, they were impressing me by the walk run ratio that they were maintaining, that I drafted off of them and used that pace that they were setting to say, I feel like if I finish in front of them or with them, I feel like I can say that I've done something of note, because they're running the race the way I want to run it. And I wound up hanging with them the whole time, but then I wound up really eclipsing their time. And I was like, wow, I'm pretty impressed with myself right now.
And that's the benefit of the run, walk, run, where you keep some fuel in the tank for later in the race.
For later in the race and for the end. But let's talk about the closing of the race. Can you describe crossing the finish line?
Oh man, I don't remember anything else except the arch of the race, the emotion, the feeling of I've done it. And they've got the Disney PhotoPass photographers that are there. I just wanted a good photo of that last minute. But it wasn't until I got beyond that I noticed like there was Minnie and Daisy were like right there. And I'm like, I didn't even see them. I saw the stage that like I was just laser focused on that finish line. And I looked at the grandstand to see if Linda and the girls had made it. And I ran as fast as I could. I finished really strong. And then the next thing I knew, there was just a line of well-wishers, people holding these sweet medals.
Right? Look at that. Look at the medal.
And then the next thing you know, I had a banana.
Yeah.
And I'm like, cool. I've got a banana and a snack box. I'm a happy man.
Yeah.
But it was just pure emotion at the end there.
That banana and that snack box is how the race is actually over.
Yeah.
Legit.
Yeah. I remember being very surprised. I looked down at my Apple Watch to see the pace that I had kept. And I just was so happy with that pace because again, going into it, I was just hoping to stay ahead of the balloon ladies. And I felt like for the first race, I had only had the treadmill. I didn't get a true sense of how much I could open up. And I felt like I had so much more in the tank. I ran the almost entire thing and I just felt so good that I had eclipsed any goal that I had even set for myself. And I called Linda and she goes, hey, the alarm, I set it for PM, but I'm awake and I'm on my way. I'm like, I'm done. Stay at the hotel. I'm done. I'm happy. I'm like, this is a great thing. Don't worry. I'm not upset.
The question is, and I think you answered it earlier in our chat.
Or alluded to it.
Or alluded to it when you spoke with your doctors, which here's the follow-up question to the doctor chat. Did you take the medal to show the doctor?
I didn't.
Mark.
I did take it to park that day.
Okay.
And I did get razzed by a few of my friends. And I said, hey, listen, today is my day. Tomorrow, the 10Kers are coming out.
It's tradition.
This is the one day that I can walk around with this around my neck.
Yeah.
And it doesn't look awkward. It's a real sense of accomplishment and everyone understands what it means and what it symbolizes today. I was like, it's not something that I could walk around ShopRite with this bad boy on my neck, but people would probably look at me and be like, why does that guy have a Cinderella medal around his neck?
I do love on the day after the race where you've got your medal around your neck and the cast members and other runners are congratulating one another, congratulating you on what you achieved.
Yeah.
And you get the opportunity to do the same for other runners that you see in the parks. I think that's a really fun thing.
And unique. What distance and when? What's next for you, Mark?
So it's already earmarked on the calendar. March 22nd is the registration for the Wine and Dine. So I'm going to wake up as early as I can on March 22nd, and I'm going to register for at least the 5. But I noticed that they have the 2-course meal.
The 2-course challenge.
Yes. Yep.
And so I'm going to register for the 5 and the 10K for November.
That's what we did this past November. Yeah.
Yes.
And what did you call it?
What did I call it? Because I believe that the formal 2-course challenge is the 10K and the half.
Yeah.
So unless you're going to commit to doing the 10K and the half, if you do the 5 and the 10, they don't have a separate challenge for that. But I was calling it something like the charcuterie challenge.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go.
I like that.
Because I think that Disney should consider doing something like that.
True.
Only because
Accurate.
I think that a challenge of the smaller races, the shorter distances is a great entree for people to begin doing their challenge weekends because Disney ramps it up.
Yeah.
It goes from the 2-course challenge. Then you start talking about Goofy and Dopey. You're talking major distance over 4 days.
It's amazing to see people do that. Yeah.
My doctor did tell me, he said today, the only thing he said is before you start doing any marathons, Mark, please just can we talk before you start doing stuff like that? And I said, Doc, trust me, I would have to have done and accomplished the half before I even considered that. to see like how my body felt after a half marathon. But I told Dwayne this in our episode, the power of possibility. I never thought in a million years that a 5K would be something that was possible. And I had set so many limitations on myself doing this. And I didn't get emotional because to me, that wasn't the end of the race. I used to think the 5K was like the summit of my mountain. And only after I crossed that finish line did I realize like, I haven't even reached the first checkpoint on the side of the mountain yet. Like I have a lot of race left to run and I have loftier goals than a 5K. As crazy as that sounds, it's like an out of body experience to say, I'm going to continue to run. I've got a lot of race left to run in me. I have not put the idea of a half out of my mind since I killed the 5K. And you guys gave me great advice too. And you said, if you feel good and you still want to feel like you have a lot in the tank, I felt great at the finish line. I felt great that I could have done at least a 10.
Good.
At least a 10.
That's a great way to finish the race right there.
Exactly.
I got to tell you, we are so incredibly proud of you.
We are.
For what you accomplished. Do us a favor.
Yeah.
Tell the Runcation Nation what's going on with this Diz Life right now. What do they need to know?
So the best way to clue into, if you love Disney parks and you just love all things Disney, including Run Disney, go to thisdizlifepodcast.com. It's DIS, thisdizlifepodcast.com. And if you listen on Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, Pandora, it's a one-stop shop for every one of our directories. And right there on the side is like a menu of wherever you want to listen, you can listen. We drop new podcast episodes every single Wednesday. We are, as crazy as this is, we are coming up very closely on our 100th episode. And so we're celebrating 100 episodes. And the nice thing about the vast majority of our content is it's not time sensitive. There's a few at the very beginning that were very COVID specific that they talked about park reopening procedure and like kind of the new, those are a little bit dated and somewhat, archaic, but most of our content, it's not time sensitive in that you can go back and listen to a lot of these episodes at any point in time. And it'll give you that same good piece of advice or that piece of parks knowledge that it's not like it's timed out just because it was episode 12. It's still as fresh and as pertinent as it was back then. Our pet project right now is our YouTube channel. Everyone knows me. My love language is YouTube right now. We all have our love language. Some people it's Patreon, some people it's TikTok. My love language right now is YouTube. And so if you like watching Disney content, we have short vlogs. We are not long-term vloggers. We don't do like the 50-minute to an hour-long vlogs. We have a segment called Magic Kingdom Minutes. And it is anywhere from 60 seconds to a minute and 30 of baseline tap house in 60 seconds.
Stop giving away that tip.
You know how much we love that.
I know. Like
we've ruined the secret.
Yeah, it's dining locations, like little entrees in 60-second clips. So the saying that we have is, do you have a minute? Then we've got the magic. So we would love if it's youtube.com/thisdizlife. No podcast, just This Diz Life over on YouTube.
Yeah.
And we're having the thing is we are truly living our best Disney lives and we don't complain about Disney. We don't criticize it. Nothing is perfect. But Disney is as close as it gets to the two guys that hang out there. You guys hang out with us constantly. You guys are Dizlifers. Alicia Haig does fashion segment for us on Mondays. Kirk from walruscarp.com does snack attacks from the park. And then he has a show called The Rad Tea Party, which if you want to get in parks and be live in parks, he walks around for an hour and brings you hacks, snacks, and fun facts from the park. So the best way that, again, I could describe it is we are just living our best Disney lives over there at thisdizlifepodcast.com.
I would say you are. And now fully having experienced the Run Disney life also.
I can't go back, guys. I'm in.
We have to say, we listened to your show recapping your race, and you had such kind things to say about us and about what we do. We so appreciate that. We appreciate you letting us in on your first ever running experience, because coming and seeing you prior to the race, hearing about it on your show, and now recapping it here, it's very much like reliving our own first ever race experiences.
Yeah, there's nothing like that.
Which is amazing.
The first race you do, and especially your first Disney race.
Yeah. So
I want to thank you guys, but I really want to thank the running community and the Runcation Nation for being so welcoming that it's not cliquey. You guys, even from a guy who like had no credentials, walked right off of the couch, it was like, hey man, let's go. And everyone that we met was just super kind, encouraging me to the max, and really just making this a life-changing experience. This has been a life-changing experience for me. I don't get proud of things easily. I'm so proud to add runner to my life resume. And there's not a lot of things that I'm like, yeah, I did this and did it, runner. And I wear that with such pride now. I'm so happy. And I can't wait to do more of it.
Congratulations on accomplishing, exploring, and indulging Mark Valentine from This Diz Life. We are so proud of you. Congratulations on your race. And thank you so much for taking time to talk with us today.
Thank you for having me. I love you both. Thank you so much.
Okay, Runcation Nation, we have moved around the World Showcase here at the 2022 Epcot International Festival of the Arts. And
we just haven't been here, so it doesn't roll off the tongue.
It doesn't,
right?
Not at all.
Yes.
And we stopped off at a place called Vibrante en Vivido Encanto Cocina.
I think in honor of a very successful movie.
Yes.
Very timely.
And this one here, I got literally every food item.
Well,
we divided and conquered. Amy went down the road to get the next item we're going to talk about.
I think it's a great tip that if you have multiple people in your party and the lines and crowds are really high,
which they are,
you can divide and conquer.
Yeah. So we did. So first things first, we got the house-made chorizo and potato empanada with turmeric aioli and annatto aioli. Turmeric being a bright, vibrant yellow.
It's known for healthful properties,
It is. It's known for being great for anti-inflammation. And then annatto seeds are bright red seeds that are ground up and used for color.
Oh.
So you can see this empanada, which is a full-sized empanada. This has the drizzle of these two aiolis on top.
Oh my gosh. It looks beautiful. It's very colorful. Ooh, it looks like potato inside. You can see the chunks of potato.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
You love it. You love it.
The potato's creamy. The chorizo is smoky. I love turmeric, the flavor of turmeric. And it's a great complement to the spiciness of the chorizo.
The chorizo is spicy.
But not so spicy it's going to blow your doors off.
And the creaminess of the potato, the dough of the empanada is super flaky and airy. Super airy.
Yeah, you would think this might end up being something that would be real heavy. It's not bad. Not heavy at all.
Yeah. I love it.
That's a great bite. And honestly, that one's big enough. That could be that with a beverage. That pretty filling. And definitely big enough for two to split.
The meat inside of this, very hearty, very toothsome texture.
This is not the spiciest chorizo I've ever had.
No.
But it's very good.
No. It is the dominant flavor, and then the creaminess of the potato and the dough help balance.
Yeah.
Like a good counterbalance.
That's delicious. That was a winner. The next one that we got from them is their spicy ajiaco soup with guajillo and arbol chili spiced chicken, potato, avocado, corn, and creme fraiche. Okay, This is
so colorful.
A bright red broth, and that's going to be the guajillo and chili arbol. You've got chunks of chicken in here. You have diced avocado. You're tasting it. What do you think?
It's so good. It's spice, like the spice hits my lips right away. But then the avocado is a creamy, soothing element. And
creme fraiche is like a sour cream.
Just a little bit thinner in consistency. Not too thin.
That's a delicious soup. This reminds me of pozole.
Yeah.
Very similar to pozole, except you don't have any of the hominy corn in the...
You have the ear of corn, the half of ear of corn, which is very nice and bright yellow sweetness in the dish. This is really good.
The broth is very rich and flavorful and spicy. This is this one. The heat builds. The more I taste it, I'm liking this a lot.
It's so good, and it's really surprising that we would be so drawn to this on a warm day like this. You can never tell in February what you're going to get, so I think it's a gamble to have a soup on your menu. But this really works.
It does.
Awesome.
Rounding out the offerings at the Encanto Casino is their passion fruit mousse with dragon fruit jam. This is a bright pink,
So colorful.
mousse, and it looks like the dragon fruit jam might be either it's inside or this looks like a little whipped cream on top.
Is it?
Let's cut into this and see. It's this little dome. It's perfect. Oh no, it's inside.
It's inside. It's so colorful. It's like a little hidden heart.
This is gorgeous. Here, have a bite.
It looks like flan on the inside.
Oh yeah.
Like that little sugar edge around the bottom. Gives you another texture for the creaminess of that dessert, that mousse.
That's delicious.
It has texture upon texture.
Yeah, you've got the little dragon fruit jam on the inside has this
That's
dragon
awesome.
fruit seeds, which give you a little crunchy element.
But as does the sugar.
And like you said,
sugar.
there's a sugar rim or sugared edge to this, and it's garnished with a white chocolate flour, basically.
Yeah. It's really pretty. Delicious. So,
That is insanely good.
yeah, I highly recommend. It's very much like a flan. Consistency, not like such.
A little airier.
Yeah, but it's not so much a mousse
Right.
that tends to wilt over time,
No.
so you can enjoy.
Good call on this one. The
Love it.
Encanto Casino. You've got to try these guys. They are making absolutely beautiful food and food that will satisfy not only your eyes but your palate.
Colombian cuisine done right. Are you ready to tackle the beer flight
Let's
from the artist table?
Yeah, let's talk beverages here because we got two beverages to talk about. Two flights.
Actually, yes, we do. I got it all.
So we're doing, this one caught my eye when we were looking and doing research ahead of time because their very first beer in this flight is from a brewery we have been to
And love.
and absolutely love.
Yeah, for sure. It's Lexington Brewing Company. We've actually toured their facility. Mammoth White Ale. So it's in Lexington, Kentucky, of course. And Mammoth White Ale. It certainly looks light in color.
It does.
It has no perceptible type of smell.
Oh, I don't know. I'm getting a nose on that.
I'm getting, it's like a fresh bready kind of thing, but not a pronounced any other flavor.
She's
What
making
is
a
that?
face.
What is that on the end?
A little coriander.
Is it? Because it makes it sweeter on the end. No?
That is.
Oh.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. So you could say
Very
that
light body.
we're winning.
This is.
You like it?
Yeah. I don't have any information on ABV or IBU, but this is super light in body. Very low carbonation, but it has all of your traditional white ale flavor components. That coriander, orange peel. That is super drinkable. This is a great beer for here in Florida. So nicely.
So it's like a wit beer.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah. Well, wit, white.
Yeah.
Sorry. I just got it.
Now the second one
Sorry.
is from Copper Point Brewing Company out of Boynton Beach, Florida.
I love a good amber ale, and I don't even know how to pronounce this. Is it Analoger Amber Ale?
Yeah, Analoger, Analoger.
It's quite amber.
It is quite amber in
It's
color, but
see-through.
clear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No haze. Do you get anything on the nose of it?
Like the Lexington, I'm not getting anything on the
Okay.
nose on this one.
But what I get is an amber that doesn't quite have such a bitter finish. Those caramel notes, not super sweet,
It's a lighter body.
and lighter carbonation.
Yeah, this is a light to medium in terms of carbonation, but that is
Quite nice.
really, again, a very drinkable amber for hot weather.
Yes,
So the amber is good.
it's
The amber
very
is outstanding.
recommend.
But I didn't know anyone who had tried it.
There you go.
Yeah. And then we have a third one, of course. MIA Beer Company, Yacht Rock Brown Ale.
And now they're out of Doral, Florida. I believe we've had this beer.
You really?
I think that we had
When?
this beer
Where?
at Publix A1A half marathon a couple of years ago, and they had this
Really?
one on tap in the hotel bar,
Oh.
if I'm not mistaken.
But we haven't talked about it on the show.
I don't believe so.
I get like essence of chocolate on the nose.
And this is a little darker, a little less red, a little more brown than the Copper Point.
Yeah, heavier carbonation.
Oh, you're
See
right.
what I'm saying?
This absolutely gives you like a whiff of chocolate
Uh-huh.
on the nose.
Yeah. And it's like a bitter chocolate in the taste of the beer.
Oh, that's good.
So, of the beers,
I like, man, their beer sommelier did them right this year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nicely done, guys.
I'm the dessert person, right?
Yeah, so
So-
which of these three beers?
Oh, before we go on to the sweeter portion of the beverage
Yes.
here at our artist table, which of the beers? I might say the Mammoth White.
Yeah?
Yeah. You?
I might actually go with the amber.
The amber's very good. Very good. Those two are really strong. I think the trio is worth getting.
This is absolutely worth getting the flight so that you get the full experience of
Yeah.
these three different beers. This is a really good call. But this is a weird one. Normally we're talking dessert, we're talking something to eat. However, we're going to talk a dessert you can drink today. So
Apparently.
this stays in the beverage section of our show.
Yes. So it's called Symphony in Chocolate Flight. And there's a white chocolate, there is a dark chocolate, and a milk chocolate with a strawberry liqueur. All of
Floated
these
on top.
All of these. You can get the sipping chocolates in a non-alcoholic version if you don't want to do the alcohol.
Nobody needs that negativity in their life.
But these have a liqueur to accompany them all. And the first one, where do you want to start, Dana?
Let's start with the top one.
Okay.
The Mozart chocolate cream liqueur with dark sipping chocolate.
Ooh, and you're mixing it up.
I want to make
aren't
sure
you?
that we have a good, mix here, because you don't
Yeah.
want, if you're doing a sipping chocolate or anything, and they just put the liqueur on top. The only thing you're going to taste at the beginning
is the liqueur unless
is
you
the
mix.
liqueur.
Yeah. But they're very beautiful.
They really are, and
Square shot glasses.
I don't think that anyone should be confused. This is not a hot chocolate. When we say
No.
sipping chocolate,
No.
this is somewhere consistency-wise between
It's like pudding
a hot chocolate, a loose pudding would be
or a loose mousse. I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah. What do you think of it?
you're gonna hate that.
What do you mean I'm going to hate it? Give me the spoon.
Sip it. It's a sipping chocolate. Sip
Oh, fine. You had it on a spoon.
it. I was doing work, craft services.
Okay.
I was listening to the tutorial while I was looking at the menu.
Oh,
My
that's
problem is
nice.
I don't like white chocolate, so it would be a waste.
Oh. That's nice.
That is nice.
Yeah, I like the dark chocolate. Very.
I mean, if you want to get the flight, we'll drink your white
yeah,
chocolate.
the sacrifices.
Oh my.
I like it. It's
Okay, I don't get any of the booziness of the liqueur until I exhale after I swallow. That's when I
oh
get
yeah,
it.
there it is.
Just a little.
But it's delayed.
It's very delayed and it's very mild. The chocolate here, the dark chocolate, is not as dark as I would think if I were going to call something dark chocolate, but it is visibly darker than the one we're about to get into.
Which is the Mozart, let's see, white chocolate cream strawberry liqueur with milk chocolate, with milk sipping chocolate.
Yes.
I've got it. Now, are we going to mix?
I think you have to.
Because it's beautifully layered here.
It is. It's actually a beautiful, it looks like Neapolitan ice cream.
Mm-hmm. Except
there's no vanilla layer.
No, that's next door next.
Yeah, so I'd say go for it. Mix it. Because I want to get the whole
experience to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. This milk chocolate, that is super dark what we just had. And then this.
Well, again, in this relationship, I'm the one who loves dark chocolate.
It's the food of the gods, you said.
And for me, the darker the better. I don't say it, history says it.
In this milk chocolate one, I mixed it very well. You can't even see the strawberry color anymore. Mm-hmm. But it's like the strawberry is the dominant flavor.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is it like strawberry quick?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's going to be
That's
great.
perfect.
Okay, now this one seems looser too.
Yeah. You can sip it. It's a sipping.
Oh, wow.
Yeah?
Strawberry quick with chocolate is exactly what I'm getting here.
Yeah. But it's you see what I mean about the strawberry being the dominant flavor?
Absolutely. That's really good, though.
Love it.
This was a good find. Because when we were trying to pick which carts to do to feature for you guys, we wanted to pick the ones we thought were going to look great and taste great. And I think you hit the nail on the head here.
Well, the Americas typically has a great booth.
They do.
As does Mexico.
Regardless.
Canada.
There are certain countries that are showstoppers every time. Mexico, Canada, America. Really, those are the three that are always amazing.
Although, there are sleepers.
And Brazil.
Oh, Brazil with, yes, it's ridiculous.
Brazil.
Whatever they brand that area right there between France and Morocco. Yeah. This is great. I'm mixing the next one.
Okay, you're mixing the next one. This is Mozart white chocolate vanilla cream liqueur with white sipping chocolate, which technically is not chocolate.
What is it?
White chocolate is actually devoid of any of the chocolate solids. That is just your cacao butter or cocoa butter.
Which is delightful. I love white chocolate. It's white.
That is sinful. Oh
I
my
mean,
God.
that is, I don't even know. It's like a brick of white chocolate with an alcoholic flair,
Yeah.
but in liquid form.
It's almost going to bring you to tears.
I love it. You know, I love it. White chocolate is my favorite.
That is insane.
And it's just chocolate on white chocolate on white chocolate.
This puts the indulge and accomplish, explore, and indulge.
It does.
That is absolutely insanely
I love it.
good.
And you do get the essence of the liqueur on the end in your throat
You do.
after the sip.
There's a little burn to that.
Yep. But it's slight. It's not really,
Yeah,
bothersome, or
that's incredible.
it doesn't take away from the sip.
All right, you guys know I'm not a dessert guy.
But you would recommend the sipping chocolates with the liqueurs.
100%.
Okay.
100%.
I'm glad that I could order well
You did.
for us.
So, guys, next year, get here to the Festival of the Arts, Artists Table.
Artist table for the win.
If you see sipping chocolates on the menu, do not pass go. Do not collect $200.
Just get them.
Just get them. Just do it.
Yeah.
You will thank us later.
I absolutely loved everything about hearing from Mark and talking about that amazing food and beverage from the Festival of the Arts.
People were right. That is an outstanding festival.
It is. The food is absolutely gorgeous. They definitely spend more time in the food prep there than any others. I am still personally a fan of the Flower and Garden Festival,
I
but
know.
Festival of the Arts is pretty awesome too.
Right now, people can experience your favorite festival
They can, and I can't wait to hear all about it.
during the springtime surprise weekend. They will do it, and then they will tell you all about it, I am sure.
And all they have to do is call us at 941-677-2733 and leave us a voicemail telling us all about it.
Or they could record a little voice memo on their phones, and they could attach it to an email to info@runnydrink.net so that we could make them Runny Drink Podcast famous.
I would love that. I would love it. Tell us all about your experience. We want to hear from you guys. That's going to do it for this week, recapping and getting you all charged up. I hope that you all are as excited about the springtime surprise as we are. We want to hear all about it. Next week, we are going to be highlighting a favorite race weekend of ours, the Gasparilla Distance Classic that we ran at the end of February.
At the exact same time that the Princess Weekend was going on.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm excited about that.
Yes, very much so. Do us a favor, though. Share the show on your social media and tag us. Let everybody know about the Runcation Nation and invite them into the fold. This community needs your help to grow and continue to become vibrant and welcoming and an amazing place that you guys are making it, and we want to make it even bigger.
Bring people like you that you know to the Runcation Nation. Thank you so much for listening, for joining us on your long run, your commute to work, around the house, wherever you are. I'm your host, Amy.
And I'm your co-host, Dana.
Stay safe and well, and we will accomplish, explore, and indulge with you really soon. Thanks for listening to this week's episode of the Run, Eat, Drink podcast. We're having another great year thanks to your support. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. We're at Run, Eat, Drink Podcast. And on Twitter, we're Run, Eat, Drink Pod. You can also give us a call at 941-677-2733 or send us an email at info@runeatdrink.net. Visit our website at runeatdrink.net and click on the subscribe link so you don't miss a minute. Find out how you can support the show at patreon.com/runeatdrinkpodcast. Accomplish, explore, and indulge right along with us. We'll talk to you next time.